Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and today I'm showing you this ship, which is the Death Cube. And I actually have two versions of it. I have the one here loaded up with a bunch of missile launchers spaced out, that way the missiles don't blow themselves up by running into each other the second they fire. And this one down here, which I'm actually going to show second, is a Gatling gun version, which I built first, and which is, I think, absolutely beautiful. I actually love it when we fire it. I'll show you that in a minute. And you might see that white cube. I'll show you the white cube up here on this one. And by the way, it's symmetrical on each side, except for the white cube, where if we remove it, we can now, very simply, aim in there, and you see we have a control console thing in there. And actually, if I get out of this, it'll put me inside the ship. And you can see if I look around, this is how the ship moves itself about. Bunch of engines in every direction, power supplies in the corners, or at least the edges, not really corners as much as edges. I guess it's type of corner. Anyway, and also gyroscopes are actually behind all of these engines. Like a little section right there should be full of gyroscopes. Anyway, let me hop back in here, pop in the third verse, and I'll really quickly show you this. We've all seen missiles before. I actually used a whole lot of them in my previous video. But you can see this thing pretty much fires in any direction, and it fires a huge volley of missiles. And I think something, yeah, there's an asteroid right in front of us. I think maybe if I fire... No, it actually seems to have gone right through. I thought it was going to blow us up. But anyway, you can see missiles still ridiculously powerful. I do suspect, as many other people do, that they will indeed be fixing or at least patching these to make them weaker. And also, I've noticed something strange. If we were to shoot this other Death Cube, I'll just reload this level in a minute. But if we were to maneuver and not lag out, but shoot this other Death Cube, you can see it seems to have... Actually, a lot of those seem to have glitched through it, but it seems to have done relatively minor damage in comparison to the asteroid over there. Where if we were to say, let's shoot over there, you can see it seems to have annihilated a huge section. And I think each missile is designed to destroy a certain amount of blocks, and then it stops. And because it's hitting down there, each missile can hit one block and kill like 5 around it and do a huge amount of damage because the blocks are bigger. When it does the same thing to this smaller ship, it obviously doesn't end up seeming to destroy quite as much. So it's something interesting. If I'm right about that, I figure they'll change it quite easily. Wow, that one actually did a huge amount. It's pretty nice. But yeah, it's clearly, you know, alpha is alpha. Don't fully understand how it's working. Clearly has something to do with blast radius not being equal between small ships and large ships and the amount destroyed. Anyway, really quickly, let me reload this level now, and I'll show you the Gatling gun version of the Death Cube, which I prefer a whole lot. Even though this is pretty amazing right now, I still happen to prefer... Wow, we actually took some shrapnel damage I didn't notice. Anyway, let me load up the other version now. Alrighty, here we go, level reloaded, and here we go with the other little Death Cube. And this is actually the Death Cube I made first, and I actually adore the most. Whereas that one was sort of, I felt, hey, you know, I got Gatlings, I need to have the other ones just to see what it looks like, and because I have to space out these, I'll actually fly back up here, because they have to be spaced out by 2, it actually sort of ruins the look and feel of it. Whereas if I was actually able to just stick these in here, actually gotta turn that around, there we go, like that, oh, nope, that, how much cooler does that look? I hope in the future they'll allow us to have missiles be nice and close together like that, without them running into each other and blowing up. Anyway, back down to this one. You can see, because Gatling guns can be closer, it also changes the whole look of it to be much more uniform, much nicer, and obviously with that one, because of those gaps, you can tell it was designed second, because these were designed to be right next to each other, whereas there I got these little bits of yellow in between that just sort of stuck in there as filler. Anyway, on this one, it shows off the actual overall look and flow of it more, where I actually have these, you can see I spent a lot of time making sure there was a nice curve at each of these points. That way nothing has a very jagged and sharp edge to it. And really quickly, let me actually fly into it, because, you know, once you've seen one side and one corner, you've pretty much seen the whole thing. It's pretty nice. I love it. I actually adore this thing with the Gatling guns on it. But it gets even better, actually, once I hop in here, get in the control thing, and get on the outside. And be warned, this is going to be pretty loud, but just admire it and actually listen to the sound of the Gatling guns, because they're going to change as I fire, which I think is pretty cool. I love the sound of that. I even love the little power down sound at the end. The little, oh god, I love all the sounds with these guns currently, and the fact that the sounds change after a while. And I love this ship and the fact that everything looks like an arrow pointing towards the nuclear sign there. Bit weird. Anyway, I adore this ship. Now, really quickly, I'm actually going to hop in here and just go to audio. And I'm going to turn down the sound pretty low because they are beautifully sounding, but they are pretty damn loud, as you probably just found out. How's that? Much better. Okay. There we go. And actually, the farther away the camera gets, the quieter it gets. A lot of people have actually mentioned before the sound in space being a bit weird, but I don't know, it's sort of nice. It is a sci-fi game. There's going to be a lot of strange things. It's not just a science direct simulator. And as we're flying about, you can see some of the awesomeness as the game actually slows up, is the fact that we're bombarding this asteroid as we fly by, and a lot of awesomeness is happening there. Now, strangely enough though, one of the coolest things isn't actually when you're hitting stuff, it's when you're just spinning. If the particle affects it, there we go. I love that. The little spirals that show up sometimes. Now, because remember, the game is in alpha, and all these weapons are subject to change, and will probably change. Sometimes, you know, the bullets, you can't actually see them, but you get the idea of this thing spiraling about. And I would love, once multiplayer gets in, to be able to actually see this thing from afar as it spirals about, flinging bullets everywhere. Probably as long as it doesn't actually hit me. Unfortunately, unlike the missiles, though, we cannot actually dig through this. So, I mean, if you're hiding behind a tiny little bit of rock, you'd be fine, and actually, you'd probably be fine behind a tiny bit of metal on a larger ship or station, because these things take ages to mine through it. Now, something they do not take ages to mine through are actually other small ships. They still take a while longer than I personally would expect, but they can get through it. And actually, I'm trying to line this up now. I think we're actually hitting. You can see some weird sparks and stuff showing up there, and some damage. And something strange I found earlier, if I release, sometimes you'll actually see a huge array of sparks and damage actually show up after you've stopped firing. It's a very strange glitch that I've seen happen, but very, very interesting. And of course, we're slowing down here. I'm trying to position a bit that way we're not hitting any asteroids or anything else besides this, but that the game is still slowing up. The actual movement speed and everything slows because the game's calculating more. And actually, my frame rate's dropping a bit here just because it's trying to show and figure out all the damage being done to this other ship in front of us. So let's see, can we rotate the camera around to see the back side of the ship? Yeah, you can see a few bullets coming through there. A huge amount of sparks just happened. Let's let up now, because we're not actually seeing any bullets. Let's try again. You can see a few bullets passing through. There you go. You can see a bunch of sparks on the right side there, just eking through it all. Oh, very, very cool. I love this. I love the fact that this game has so much potential for destructibility. You can see there we got some sparks going on other spots. And now, actually, if I stop, let up a bit, and you see some stuff is still exploding there. That's what sort of I was talking about, but I've seen it happen on a bigger scale. And now you can see we've pretty much torn open the whole front of the ship. I'm going to do one more little quick hit pass here. I'm going to do a attack on it, and I'm going to fly up to the right of it, as I am doing, and try to rotate around, keeping it in our sights. And of course, this sort of ship, because you cannot very well aim it at anything, usually, and because you cannot just set it to fire one set of weapons as far as I know. Let me see real quick. Can I go into here and then just shut off some Gatling guns, or whatever they're called? No, I cannot currently actually just disable the weapon, so you can't do anything like that. Currently, you're pretty much stuck on just opening fire on whatever's all around you with a crazy ship like this. So you'd have to be slightly careful and probably only use this, maybe it would be the sort of thing you drop out of a larger ship into an enemy field, and then you just do some spirals and hope to God you devastate everything in your wake. Anyway, I think that's about enough damage right now. There we go, get the slow up, and I'm actually going to hop out of that, hop through here, and currently the way the ship was actually designed to work to get out was that you would basically do what I'm doing here. Hop back in the seat, you fly down to, if you can see it down there on the large station platform that's came pre-built, I could probably line this up relatively well, and the idea is that you line up that little tiny cockpit view, and then you hop out into one of those directly. So if we can get close enough, I can't actually quite so easily tell how far away I am. I'm used to flying really big ships. Wow, that looks strange. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. It's so cool. I love the fact that when you're firing too, you get to see the pattern of the weapon set up whizzing past you. At least when you can actually see the bullets. They're glitching out a bit right now. There you go. Oh god, I'm sorry, I've gotten distracted. I love it too much. Anyway, let's see. Can we line this up so that we can actually reach one of these control panels and get out of this ship? I think that... Well, I've just crashed into it. Well, crap. Alright, I'll have to cut my way out. Anyway, let's just do a bit of this. Random clicking, damage. Oh, I should have just done this. That would have been a lot quicker. Oh great, it's not even working properly now. Brilliant. Okay, anyway, out of there. Whatever. I'll reload this. Anyway, we come up here and see what all those Gatling guns did. And I actually like what they do a lot more than missiles. Even though it's a lot of fun to launch one missile and see it hit its target and annihilate it. God almighty, is it ever fun to see that. It's a lot funner to come back to the wreckage of something that's been devastated by a Gatling gun. Because it looks like something chaotic and crazy from the first Dead Space or something. Because all this stuff is just floating about and ripped in jagged ways. And you walk into here, it's just like, it looks like, I don't know, maybe even something from The Thing got loose and just started flailing about and ripped everything up. And you know, there's semblances of the stuff that once worked here, but it's all scattered. It's all shredded and skewed in beautiful, beautiful ways. Oh god, I love it. Oh god. It's just so beautiful. They've done really well on this. I'm sure they'll update in the future. That way it works a bit better, a bit more predictable. I'm sure missiles will see a lot of big changes. I've seen little pictures on Reddit of people digging through and finding, you know, sort of weapons that are in the works but aren't properly added to the game yet or are just hidden in the files. There's stuff coming, my friends, and am I ever looking forward to it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, something here. I can't see.